Mixtape Podcast.
Okay. Back at it again, Knicks Take Podcast. This is episode 7. I am your host, Josh So Focused, alongside
that mother French. We're gonna bleep all that out.
Okay. Somebody's hyped because of this 9-game win streak that the Knicks just pulled off.
It's gonna be 10. I know that for sure.
You know that for sure? All right, first of all, before we go to 10, because we're going to do that at the end when we do the upcoming games. I just want to say before anything else, the only other team in the NBA to pull off a 9-game win streak in this season is the Utah Jazz.
And I think they went on that streak after we remember that game when Austin Rivers went crazy against Utah in the Garden, and then they went on a crazy win streak after that. I'm pretty sure that's when they went on that streak. So we went on two win streaks this season.
So
with 9 games, they both had to do with us. Let me stop talking shit. Go ahead.
This Knicks team probably ain't as good as this win streak, but
no, we that good. Remember,
we good.
Remember I said Atlanta Hawks is better than us, and we just the average team with elite defense. I take all that shit back. I take it all back. I was thinking, like, when we came into this game, I'm thinking, like, all right, this win streak is on the line against Atlanta Hawks. And I remember saying that the Hawks were better than us. And I wanted to see for sure if we could close the season out with a sweep. With the streak on the line, it was telling me a lot. So going into that game, I just thought, like, damn, if we win this one, I might have to take them words back. Here I am now.
Well, we're going to get into that Atlanta Hawks game. First of all, we want to tell y'all, please check us out on YouTube. We're going to start putting out clips and the video versions of the episode for the Knicks Take Podcast. Hopefully this week. Shit's getting a little harder than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit going on in life, too.
Yeah, a lot of shit going on in life. Check us out on Instagram, Knicks Take Podcast. Check us out on Twitter, The Knicks Take. Check us out on Facebook. And is there anywhere else that y'all need to check us out at? Website, which will come whenever. Whenever we're ready for that.
All listening platforms. That's the most important part right now.
All listening platforms. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, etc., etc.
Yeah. Now let's get to the real talk.
When we left off, we had, 6-game win streak? Yeah, it was a 6-game win streak.
Yeah.
Right? And we started off on Sunday. We played the New Orleans Pelicans, who we just whooped. We just beat them. They didn't have Lonzo Ball. He was available for this game. Pelicans were pretty healthy. And I still wasn't worried about that. I came into this game like, this is still a better team, even though they got Zion, even though they got Ball. I still think that we should be able to pull it out. Yeah, Ingram. Like, they're a good team.
They got a lot of good players, but
I don't think Josh Hart played in this game. But yeah, they have a lot of good players, but I still think that this team, the way that they're playing, is still better. You agree with that?
I think the Pelicans are they have all the talent on their team, but they just haven't figured out how to put it all together yet. And until they figure that out, whenever they come across good teams, that's the same thing is gonna happen. They're gonna just be competitive, and then when it comes down to the fourth quarter and it's winning time, they're not gonna ever know how to overcome that until they learn how to play together. So they're probably a year or so away, but they're a talented real team.
I
don't know what else to say about them. They're a
young team. They're a young team.
They have everything they need.
They're a young team with vets, just like the Knicks are, except that the Knicks have, I don't know what they have. They have what they need. And they have, their best player is a seasoned player, and
Steven
that
Adams.
that player. Well, I'm talking about the Knicks. Our best player is a seasoned player in Julius Randle. New Orleans' best player is Zion, and he is a very good player, but he's not as good as Randle right now, and most of that is because of the seasoning. So anyway, a quick recap of this game. This was a nationally televised game. Pelicans were looking to even the season series. Knicks were on a 4-game winning streak for the first time this season. Answered my earlier question. They were on a 4-game win streak for the first time coming into this game. Actually, I might be lying about that. It was a 5-game win streak. Pelicans were looking to even it up. Game started off. Nerlens Noel looked like he could not handle Steven Adams. That was the first thing that popped out to me in this game. Now Nerlens didn't play the first game against the Pelicans. He was out. I don't remember exactly why. I think it was a sore thigh or something like that, or a sore ankle. And I was looking to see how Noel, if he was going to show that he was going to be valuable in this game. And he seemed to be a detriment early on. Steven Adams was getting rebounds. He was putting his stamp on the game, whereas in the first game I was like, Steven Adams ain't really doing too much. That was him
playing in the first one.
Yeah, I might have to look back to see if he was. I'm pretty sure he was, but it just seemed like the Pelicans were taking advantage inside of the paint. It seemed like the Knicks could not get anything going as far inside of the paint, and they weren't really shooting too well from outside of the paint. So the Pelicans had a little bit of an advantage, even though the score was close. The fact that Noel couldn't do anything to help us on the boards, and the fact that Randle was getting worked by Zion in the first quarter.
The whole team was. It wasn't just Randle.
Yeah, but, that was his matchups. So it's like, oh, this is their best player. This is our best player. I don't know. Zion is looking like he's getting busy. I wasn't really... I don't want to say I didn't like what I was seeing, because the Knicks were playing hard. It's just that their game wasn't really working.
In the first half.
Mm-hmm. Brandon Ingram was passing the ball real well. Zion was doing whatever he wanted to do. They were just doing everything they needed to do. It wasn't really much I could say. Towards the end of the first half, though, Randall's offense started to pick up. And that's when the game actually started looking like, all right, we're going to have ourselves a game. This is not going to be New Orleans is just going to rout us, or they're going to hold an advantage for the entire game. Once Julius started to figure it out, Noel went out because he hurt his hand on the rim, but he came back. And even though he still kept getting worked by Steven Adams, the fact that Randle was playing so well, it kind of negated that. So what I was initially looking at, I was initially like, oh, if Noel can't figure this out, we're going to lose. Or if Taj can't do more, we're going to lose. It ended up not mattering. Julius figured it out, and the rest of us picked it up. I think the Knicks went into the half with a lead.
Because of D. Rose.
Right.
D. Rose came in and was lighting it up off the bench.
Yeah. And that's a theme. That's a theme that we're going to have for the rest of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So
you see why I said I love D. Rose being on his team. He brings something that not many others can bring.
That's right.
Former MVP.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about D. Rose, but we're gonna try and keep this within an hour. So all I'm gonna say is, this team is so much better when D. Rose comes out on the court. Him and Quickley. And
Obi.
We're
not gonna leave Obi out of this one. That's for sure. During this streak, nah. We're not gonna do that.
So, third quarter, Pelicans start turning it up, and the Knicks offense can't do nothing. Even Julius is bricking. The only person who's really helping the Knicks out in that third quarter is R.J. Barrett. So the Pelicans managed to maintain control of the game going into the fourth quarter. They were up 101-95 with a minute 36 seconds left in the game. And then this is like the Dallas game, where it's like, I want to talk about this game because I was really certain that this was going to be the end of the streak. And matter of fact, I think I asked you, we talked about this. We talked about were you worried? Like, you was like, I wasn't worried. And then I was like, yo, but We were down with 3 points. We were down 3 points with 7.8 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Pelicans
And I
had
was not
103.
confident.
The Knicks had 100.
We don't perform well in those situations where we down 3 and
We were down
it's
3.
3 seconds left.
3 seconds left. R.J. Barrett fouled out with 4
Yeah.
minutes and 7 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I don't know how we don't have Alec Burks, who's out on health and safety protocol. He must have the COVID because it's been a few games now. And I'm like, I don't know how we do this. They know we need a 3, 7.8 seconds left. There's no reason for them to guard anything else. And I don't know who can, unless we're talking about quickly shooting from the logo, I don't know who's going to hit this for us. And what ends up happening is Derrick Rose inbounds the ball to Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox gives it back to Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose finds a wide open lane because they're trying to guard the 3 so hard. The lane is so wide open that basically that's a free 2 points right there. Lonzo sees this. He's on one of the only dudes on that lineup who can hit an open 3. Well, not one of the only dudes. They all can, but one of the biggest threats. Except for Elfrid. He was one of the biggest threats, and he sags off of Bullock to stop Derrick Rose. Off instinct, but you know that the Knicks need a 3. Mm-hmm. You sag off of Bullock to stop Derrick Rose from doing a layup with less than 10 seconds left in the game. Can't do that. Derrick Rose goes, haha, got you. Bam. Passes it to Bullock, who knocks down the 3 with 2.3 seconds left in the game.
That's and the difference between a vet and someone trying to grow their wings still. A vet plays like a vet. Lonzo's still making rookie mistakes.
My heart jumped because I was like, whoo. I was expecting the loss right here. Mm-hmm. I was like, there's no way they're going to let us shoot this 3. And they did. And we knock it down. We still had 2.3 seconds left. So I was like, this would be, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up giving up an open shot. And
I would be. This team is different. We both know like this team relies on defense. So
yeah,
to
but
lose
it's
that way.
But
I ain't see that happening.
Well, we kind of did. We didn't lose, obviously, but we kind of gave Ingram an open look at the basket. But D Rose closed out so hard that I do think he did he block that? Was that counted as a block?
Yep.
He like. Ingram looked like he had an open basket, and then you see Derrick Rose flying from the right side of the screen, and he jumps as high as he can. I guess he still got the hops, but he jumps as high as he can so he can block the shot. I don't even think he realized he tipped that ball because he started going to the locker room, and the Knicks went to go get him. Ingram misses. He doesn't even hit rim. We go into overtime. And I said, well, actually, Doris Burke was like, oh, Whoever gains momentum at the beginning of this overtime period is going to determine who wins this game. So I'm like, all right, we gotta do something. I'm like, I don't know who's going to step up for us. RJ fouled out, right? So who's going to step up? Well, of course, D Rose is still playing, so that's who I should have been thinking about. D Rose definitely stepped up big time. Ended up with 23 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Quickly ended up being a threat. Once RJ was out. The fact that he was on the court opened shit up for everybody else. The Knicks basically take over in overtime with no. It wasn't even anything to worry about, right? Yeah. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but that was it. Once it got into overtime, Pelicans was done. Like we just took it. We took it from them. We took them from them in that overtime. It was never a concern. Julius Randle had 33 points, 5 boards, 10 assists.
This is the type of game that makes you.
Let's move on.
This is the type of game that makes you confident for this team going into the playoffs. Because anytime it's anywhere near a type of playoff atmosphere, this team shows up 9 times out of 10. or 10 times out of 10, I should say. Even with the loss, we still show up and still compete all the way down to the last seconds. And it's like this winning streak, even before the winning streak, even in games that we were losing within single digits. So we're like, it seems like this team is really ready made for the playoffs. Everything that we succeed at is what teams are trying to get in the playoffs. Highest field 3-point percentage. We top 5 in that. Top 5 defensive rating. Top 5 opponent field goal percentage. Like everything that teams need to rely on in the playoffs is what we succeed at throughout the entire season. And the biggest weaknesses that we had last season became some of our greatest strengths this season. So it's like we might not have the talent that every other team has. New Orleans, for example, but if you have a coach who knows what he's doing, he knows the schemes that he needs to do for certain teams, he knows how to game plan and play in the defense for certain teams, it's going to be tough to see that team in the playoffs. It's going to be real tough. I don't think any team in the East really wants to go head to head with the Knicks other than probably Miami.
The Charlotte Hornets might. I don't think they'll get to us. But I think that the Charlotte Hornets kind of showed a little bit, which that was the next game after. Oh, actually, before we get there, right after the next day after we played the Pelicans, Julius Randle won the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and it was well deserved. He averaged 30 something points over that week stretch. He was balling. I don't know anybody who came close in the Eastern Conference when it came to how big of a week he had last week. And he capped it off with this New Orleans Pelican 33-point, 5-board, 10-assist game. Yeah. So he wins that. You know, he's probably the shoe-in for most improved player. He should get an MVP vote. Don't do that.
It's like, bro, top 5 MVP. I can't name 4 people who deserve it a vote more than Julius Randle. After what we did, after what we watched last year, and now what we're watching, it's like, bro, he literally transformed his game to a point where he doesn't even seem like the same player as last year.
That's a fact, and we already spoke to that. I think we spoke to that in the last episode. So, moving on to the Hornets game. See, my notes might be a little jacked up because I have 6-game winning streak here. So, I guess we were weak.
I remember this game. I remember thinking to myself, like, PJ Washington is hitting 6 threes? Like, bro, what's going on? He's wide open for a reason. I'm thinking that they scouted him out, and he's not known as a great shooter, is he?
To be honest with you, I don't really know. I don't really know. I just know that the Knicks wasn't defending the 3 that well, and he was the one who was killing us. He
in the first
made
half.
5 threes in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't expect this to be some sort of cakewalk. The Knicks, yeah, they came in on a 6-game winning streak, but the Hornets came in. They just beat the Blazers, who the Blazers had a 4-game. They halted their 4-game losing streak. So the Blazers are a pretty damn good team on the Western Conference. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Like, the Hornets are going to be in the Eastern Conference playoffs, or they're definitely going to be in the play-ins. Let me say that they're going to be in the play-ins, and I won't be surprised to see them in the playoffs as a 7 or 8 seed. They don't have a bad team.
Yes, they just have a lot of injuries on their team. When I saw Gordon Hayward was out after what he was the reason we lost to them last game. He dropped 30 something on this last game, and LaMelo was playing that game too, and both of them are out this game. So I wasn't really that nervous going into the Charlotte game. So once I saw that we were like keeping them within striking distance in the first half, even though we were losing, I've seen enough of the games throughout this streak to understand that in the first half you never like pay too close attention like to what's going on in the first half, because they consistently step it up in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. Charlotte scored like 61 in the first half and probably ended up scoring 32 in the next half.
I think at halftime the score was 66-60 Charlotte, which goes to show like they were, and that's what I was trying to say leading into this. They were pushing transition. They were. I have a note here that says Hornets were killing the Knicks because they pushed the pace, which probably made us tired early. If the Hornets can take advantage in the fast break, I wouldn't be surprised to see Hornets. So, actually, I think the Knicks might have been leading at 66-60. I have to go look because my notes are a little off. I had a little bad week. Well, we had a bad week this week.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm gonna check that out. But the Hornets were exposing us on the fast break. Anytime, like it would even be a made. I think it was even like a made basket, and they just passed the ball up and were beating us to the other end of the court and finishing. And it's like if we have to chase you around, knowing how many minutes Julius Randle's playing, knowing how many minutes RJ Barrett's playing, knowing that Elfrid Payton is Elfrid Payton, knowing that Derrick Rose is playing 30 plus minutes a game, that is probably the secret to beating us, unless we can get some good minutes from our bench players, from our bench unit,
which we can consistently rely on. So far this season is proven that our bench lineup is probably better than our starting five lineup, with the exception of Julius Randle and RJ.
Our bench unit is good. We're missing Alec Burks, who has been consistent. Obi Toppin is not consistent, and Immanuel Quickley hit the rookie wall, but he seems to be okay now. I don't know if I want to go out. I don't know if I want to jump out the fence like that in regards to our bench, especially with us being unhealthy, especially with, like we're deep if we have Mitch and Alec Burks, but we're missing both of those guys, and the guys that we need to. The guys that help us the most when it comes to scoring are some of the streakiest guys on our bench. And we need Obi Toppin to score more and to be able to play more than 10 minutes so that Julius Randle can rest so that we can win games. So,
I feel like Obi's playing well and he's still getting taken up because he's just not Julius Randle. Julius Randle is going to make sure that we're going to get the best defensive possession out of the situation more so than Obi would, and he's going to be able to provide more offense than Obi, and that's the real reason why Obi just isn't playing.
So the Hornet, going back to the game, because we said we're going to try and keep this on an hour.
Oh yeah, and 66. Charlotte
66.
had
It was 66-60 going into the third quarter.
Yeah,
Knicks opened the second half scoring 6 straight points, which much better effort than it was in the first half. But I also said they also started the game pretty good, and then once Charlotte started running, we couldn't do anything about it. And then who else than Mr. Clutch? Mr. I wasn't a shooter then, but I'm a shooter now. Mr. Rowan Alexander Barrett Jr. knocking down threes to just take over the game. Come on, son.
And he started off 1 for what? Like 1 for 6
He's top
in the first
25,
half?
and he's not 25.
We're not going to talk about ESPN right now.
I'm just saying, bro.
What they was doing.
I'm just saying, bro.
If they did a list that was accurate, nobody would say nothing about it. They knew what they was doing.
This man, the fact that it's just like, it's not, he's, in the past week, how many times has he done this? Taking over a whole quarter to either extend the lead for us or to bring us back in the game or to take the lead. Like,
this is who he is. That's who he is. That's RJ.
Like, everybody's paying attention to Randle, and that's cool. But we are not as good as we are without RJ Barrett. And this third quarter by the Knicks is exactly why, right? I'm trying to stay off of Elfrid Payton.
We know he's going to be a starting point guard for the rest of the season. So it's like we're going to continuously talk about how trash he is.
Listen, I'm just going to back it up with points, okay? Elfrid Payton chooses to drive on 2 defenders in the fast break with an open RJ Barrett, who hasn't missed in the third quarter. He scored 13 points in the quarter alone. So he passes up. He says, yo, there's 3 dudes in the paint. RJ Barrett's in the corner. He hasn't missed yet. I'm going to take it to the rim anyway.
Ain't nothing changed. That's
bricks it.
What's been happening for 2
turns
years
the ball
now.
over. Or he either turned the ball over or he bricked it and they got it. Either way, it was a dumb possession from our starting point guard. It was so bad that even Mike Breen, who tries his best not to talk bad about the players on the Knicks, says that was a bad decision by Peyton. And that is why, like, that is a mistake from your veteran point guard that you you can't do that. If you're the starting point guard, you cannot ignore the hottest hand so that you can take it up on 2 to 3 players by yourself. So
if we see that Tibbs sees that, and I'm pretty sure he's bringing it up to him too. Hopefully, by the time the playoffs begin, Elfrid Payton has an entirely different motor than he's had this entire season, and he can provide some type of insight so for us to see as fans in the playoffs in the first round. Maybe that it's a reason why Tibbs stuck with him this long. That's as far as I want to just keep thinking on Elfrid Payton. I'm just gonna remain hopeful. Hope that like the Twitter mentions and people in his comment section isn't getting him rattled on the court to the point where he feels like he can't play comfortably. I don't want that to happen. I want to see what we could get the best out of Elfrid Payton as long as he's in the NBA, because we know after this season it's a wrap.
I would be absolutely 100%, 150% surprised if Elfrid Payton wore a New York Knicks jersey next season.
I'm surprised if he wears a jersey, period.
No, he's gonna wear the jersey into the playoffs. He'll still be the starting point guard.
No, I'm talking about next season
now. Oh, wears a jersey, period. He might get some minutes. Like, he's on a team that's doing good. Just because he's not playing well, he's had a few games. He's gonna get another run next year because the Knicks are good, and that's really the only reason why he was the starting point guard for whatever seed the Knicks are going to be.
I feel like that was in spite of that was going to happen in spite of him.
That's all I'm going to say about Elfrid. So at that point when he made that decision, RJ hasn't missed. He scored 13 points at that point. He follows it up on the following possession. Oh, I said that was the last thing, but I had one more thing. He followed it up the following possession by committing a charge. So you messed up the play. You get the ball back, and then you commit an offensive foul. So 2 back-to-back dumb plays. So anyway, RJ ends up with 18 points in the quarter, 5 for 5 from 3. The fourth quarter that was basically it. Once RJ took over, the Knicks extended the lead. D Rose, Immanuel Quickley, RJ, Bullock, Randall, Taj, Noel all put their stamps in the game. Strong defense, strong shot shooting from 3. It wasn't a game. Like, we held the lead comfortably at the end of the game, 109-97 New York Knicks. Knicks don't win this game without RJ Barrett. 24 points on 8 for 17 shooting, 6 for 11 from 3. So which goes to show you how bad he shot in the first half. So yeah. He did shoot bad in the first half. He took over in that third quarter. He went 5 for 5.
Made up for it.
And you know what I mean? Like, Reggie was 5 for 12 from 3 for 16 points. D Rose ended up with 17 points and 5 assists. Immanuel Quickley, 17 points, 5 of 9, 4 for 7 from 3. The one guy whose stats I didn't put up there was Julius Randle, who it was an off night. 16 points for him. 10 rebounds, 7 assists, which is not a bad stat line. But I didn't feel like that was an RJ game. You got anything else that you feel like I missed from that game?
Nah, it was just a good way to end all that 4th seed talk. Because we see after this game, we had to go battle it out with the Hawks real quick. I wasn't really worried about the Hornets, so I was more so worried about the Hawks. I'm happy we're about to get into that game.
Yeah, the only thing I think I have left about the Hornets game is my thoughts on Terry Rozier, which we don't even have to get into, but I was just thinking about the point guard situation. Rozier didn't look bad. I think he's a little, ball handle heavy, but would I like him? Would I want him over Elfrid Payton? Yeah. So the Hawks game, April 21st. Knicks go into that game on a 7-game win streak. Now, the Atlantic Hawks were... I don't know what got into the Hawks since the last time we played them, because we already beat them twice before this. But I mean, they still were not healthy going into this game. They're still missing Gallo and somebody else. Actually, I got the injury report from that game. Give me 1 second. Chris Dunn out. Danilo Gallinari out. DeAndre Hunter out. Cam Reddish out. Tony Snell out. I wouldn't call that a healthy team. Their most important players were all healthy, but I don't even know if I could say that. It's just that the guys that they have, they are a deep team.
Clint Capella
and they
was
got
one of the most important players, and he wasn't playing against us last time.
True.
He's probably the second most important player on their team. He's been balling out this year.
True. But I would say I'm just saying like they didn't get healthy per se. They got back Clint Capella, Clint Capella, who was very important and has spurred them to being one of the better teams, spurred them to be the 4th seed by the time this game started. I didn't feel like that was enough.
I didn't feel like them guys were big difference makers that were out.
True.
Outside of Gallo, but like we what puts fear in your heart when it comes to the Hawks is Clint and Trey. John Collins could light you up some games, but most of the time he's not really a threat in my eyes. Trae Young he was cooking us in the first half. He was getting anything he wanted, all the passes he wanted. He just wasn't getting his shots off. But the thing about, like, even when you watching someone chef you up, but you still can't get a lead over us, I know that's so demoralizing for players in the NBA. Like, Trae Young was getting whatever he wanted, but we were sticking in that game in the first half, and we were only down, 5 points when he got hurt? He got hurt, and I got it written in my notes. He got hurt in the third quarter. Noel got hurt.
He did.
Taj got hurt. Taj got punched in the eye in the first half.
Yep. Taj got his eyelid lacerated in the first half. He never returned. Julius Randle went 4 for 4 from that, and you know I happened to miss the first half of this game. So I will. I will.
A nice dunk in the first. I
will defer to you, but when I turned the game on in the third quarter, if the first half was like that, which I get the sense that it was, I was not confident. Julius Randle, I found out later, went 4 for 4 from 3 in the first half. But if Julius Randle goes 4 for 4 from 3 in the first half and has 20 points in the first half, and you're still down, because Trae Young is Trae Young. I don't know how, and the Hawks are a good team. I don't know how confident you could be. I still think that we could have won. I still thought we could win that game, but I just knew that if we did, it would be just a gut. It would be a gutsy win.
You could be confident in this team now. You don't have to worry no more. Every time that we have a competitive game, you seem to be really concerned. This team is not that no more. Even if we have a slow start to the first half, we probably have one game this season where we just let go of the rope when we lost the lead to a great team, and that was against the Bucks after the All-Star game, and probably one game before the All-Sar break. But if you really think about it, every game for the most part this season has been down to the wire. If it came with us losing the game. So even if we start off slow in the first half, I have confidence that we're going to tie the game up, get the lead back, erase the deficit that we're in. And it's going to be a game.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is that there are certain things when it comes to the Knicks where it's like when they play their game and they're still losing, when the Knicks play their game, and when I say when they play their game, this is what I mean. And this has been prevalent throughout this entire winning streak, right? When they play their game, their defense is on point. They're passing the ball immaculately. They're getting assists. They're knocking down threes, or they're getting points in the paint. When they play that way, when they play like they're one of the best teams in the league for whatever stretch of minutes, because it's not something that they do for a whole game, but it's something that they can lock in on for 4 or 5 minutes. When they do that, and it's still not enough, that's when I start getting worried. It's either that, or if it's a situation where they're down and Julius Randle is playing bad, or RJ Barrett fouls out, or something along those lines where it's like
next man up.
It's next man up, and it's basically you're relying on somebody you has no solid history of pulling your team to victory.
Who?
We're just speaking in hypotheticals because when RJ
Derrick
went
Rose
down,
is that?
when RJ went down, yeah, Derrick Rose has
that.
been that, but he's not. He's that now. Yes.
No, he's
like I
that.
have no. I have
He's
no.
been
I have
that.
no. Not the
He's
first time
been
he was a
that.
Knick.
The first time he was a Knick, he wasn't inspired. He saw that we was playing with
Not when he was in
Porzingis. Detroit. Who's on Detroit? It's hard to be inspired when you know your team isn't going nowhere. When you feel like your team got a chance, you see what he's doing.
So what I'm
He
saying
believes
is
in
his
his team.
history. He's forming his history now on this team, and I guess he did it also in Minnesota. But
Did it in Minnesota.
it's kind of like without Randall and RJ, I'm not like I'm 100% certain because those are the two guys who I know. I know what they give me night in and night out, and I've seen Derrick Rose have bad games or have inconsistent games even before the COVID stuff. I've seen Alec Burks disappear. I've seen Reggie Bullock not be able to make threes. I've seen Quickley hit the rookie wall. I've seen it with all of these secondary and tertiary players. So yes,
I'm
I
not
do
gonna
get.
lie.
There is this little bit of concern because as much as I love my team, I know that they're not going to win the rest of the games in the season. Like they're gonna lose one or two.
I haven't seen Quickley hit a rookie ball yet. I'm not gonna lie. I've
He
seen him
did.
just go cold, but he's never once seemed lost out there. He's never once seemed like he didn't know what was going on the court. He just seemed like his shot wasn't falling, and that
Rookie
happens
wall-
to all NBA players.
Rookie walls is different things to different rookies. Sometimes it's being out there looking lost. Sometimes it's because your body is not used to the speed
Playing
of the
as much.
game or playing as often as you are. That the stuff that used to be automatic for you is no longer automatic because you don't have your legs, which I think happened to Quickley. I think he lost his floater for a long stretch of games. He didn't lose his ability to hit the three, but he wasn't hitting it at the clip he was hitting it at before. And his minutes,
I don't think that's what happened. I don't feel like he lost his legs at all. I just feel like it was just as simple as his shot just wasn't falling because after every game he was still making sure to go and get extra shots up after the game for an extra 2 hours. He was still making sure to go to the practice facility every day and get better. Like if he was tired, he would be wanting to rest and all that. But it seemed like from everything I'm hearing, Julius Randle talking about him, Obi, all these young guys getting in the gym every chance that they get. That you don't do that when you got tired legs.
I don't know. I think that's applicable to me and you. I don't think that's applicable to guys like RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley. Like even if they're tired, they're still gonna go do all that. They're still gonna go work in the gym and try to get better. And that's why I wasn't worried about Immanuel Quickley even hitting the rookie wall because I knew that eventually he'd come back and be helpful. So anyway, speaking of Quickley, actually before we get there, at the half we were down, and then third quarter happens. You already referenced this. Trae Young tries to do a floater with Norvell Pell because Taj got hurt.
Yeah.
Nerlens Noel got hit in the lip and got his lip lacerated. So Norvell, next man up. Norvell ends up on him. Trae Young tries to do a floater, lands on Norvell Pell's legs, actually takes out Norvell for a little bit. I thought we was about to be out three centers, and we was going to have to run with Obi and Randall at the five. But he didn't. Norvell ended up being five, but Trae Young ends up not being fine. He ended up being out for the game. In the same quarter, RJ Barrett does the same thing again in the third quarter where he had a couple. Did you see them dunks?
I saw them dunks. That's what he does.
He was jumping in the gym.
That's why I bought his jersey. I bought his City Edition jersey. It's on its way in the mail right now after that dunk. I said I need a RJ jersey after that.
I mean, I got mine. It's not the City Edition, so I'm a little mad at you. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that after the fact. Yeah, but he had a couple of monster dunks. The Knicks started regaining their composure. And in the fourth quarter, Immanuel quickly said, all right, good looking out, RJ. I'm going to step up. starts making his mark early in the fourth, and I think this was the game. I took some notes, and I don't have them right now with me, but I think this was another game where Elfrid Payton did something where he pissed me off. Elfrid Payton
That's every game, man. Forget all that.
I think in this game, Elfrid Payton like had 3 back-to-back bad possessions.
It doesn't bother me no more.
And then he ends up fouling dude in the last one, and then as soon as like he doesn't even wait for the substitution, he walks himself to the bench and takes himself out of the game and sits by himself.
What's wrong with that?
With which part?
I don't mind any part of that because we know Elfrid Payton is not here for the long term. Let him go and be by himself at the end of the bench. I don't care about that. Like, he had a few good moments in his game. He had bad moments in his game, and he had a ton of bad moments during the season.
It's not about whether I care about it. It's something that where I pointed out, and it's like this is me explaining to the audience, to you audience. This is why I don't like Elfrid Payton, and this is another example where Elfrid Payton comes out of the game, and the Knicks end up winning without him. Immanuel Quickley comes out with Derrick Rose, and they take over the game with Trae Young being out for the game. The Knicks down 8 with 7 minutes and 38 seconds remaining. Immanuel Quickley knocks down 2 threes to bring the Knicks within 2 points. The Hawks do not score again until 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in the game. And that is on the strength of Immanuel Quickley. That's on the strength of Derrick Rose. That's on the strength of Julius Randle.
Bogdanovich happened in the fourth quarter with the Hawks. He started taking over, hitting shots, tied the game up, forced overtime.
Yep. Randle knocked down a jump shot to put the Knicks up 3, but right before
Randle was getting buckets the whole game. Dropped a 40-piece on him.
Yep. Bogdanovich hit a 3-pointer, but this was just like the New Orleans Pelicans game. It was going to be dependent on who took advantage early. Quickly, Randle, Bullock scored 3 consecutive shots to open the extra period to take a 127-122 lead. And without Trae Young, I mean, yeah, Bogdanovich is nice, but they needed Trae. I'm not even gonna. They're a good team without him, but for this Knicks team, with this much moxie, with this much confidence, with their ability, with them feeling like they could take on anybody and have a chance to win. Without Trae Young, I didn't see Atlanta winning. I was surprised they even took it to overtime. And
after this game, they went on to spank Miami without Trae Young or Clint Capella.
Mm-hmm.
This team is still dangerous.
It's still a good team, and but if the Knicks have confidence and the Knicks are playing or defense and passing the ball the way that they're supposed to, they're a hard team to beat too. So the Knicks went up 127-122, and that seemed like Atlanta's not going to come back. They don't seem to be doing anything. Immanuel Quickley knocks down the game-clinching 3 to put the Knicks up 10 points with 44 seconds remaining. Starts shaking his hair out because he knew that's what it was. 47 seconds, y'all not coming back. It's over. I just got you out of here. Julius Randle, like you said earlier, 40 points, streak. 11 for 21, 6 for 8 from 3, 11 rebounds, 6 assists.
After this game, we started getting all type of love off ESPN. Woj dropped the pod with Julius Randle. Zach Lowe dropped the pod talking about the Knicks. Brian Windhorst dropped the pod talking about the Knicks.
Everyone wants to talk about the Knicks.
Every topic on every popular ESPN channel, First Take, Jump, featuring the Knicks. It's like, bro, fall back. Y'all didn't have all this energy for us in the beginning of the season when you saw we was lighting things up, saw that we had potential, saw that we was doing good. But now that we got a game on ESPN, now they want to give us all the love. Come on now. Seeing right through all this. But anyway, it then gets to the next game against the Raptors.
The Knicks come into the next game, the Toronto Raptors on an 8-game
That's the game that happened
streak.
today.
Yes, we were fresh off of that game. And the Raptors actually were on a 4-game winning streak themselves. The Knicks, if the the Knicks came into this the longest winning streak in the league. The only other team to get to 9 games in a win streak, like I said earlier, the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell and them. So
Future Knicks.
D Rose was averaging 20 points per game over the last 3 games. Siakam, who played trash in the first game against us, I think he had one. He went 1 for 11 and like a half, which is
Came out with something to prove this game.
yeah. He came off of a 27-point game on 10 for 19 shooting against Brooklyn. So I was like, all right, he's found his rhythm. He must be over whatever it was before.
And they
Julius
beat Brooklyn.
Yep, they beat Brooklyn coming into this game.
With no KD,
Fred
and no
VanVleet is
Harden.
back. Yeah, but they're still
They still
a good
had
team
Kyrie,
without him.
Joe Harris, Blake, all them guys.
Yeah, Kyrie still is going to get them to more wins than not by himself.
Yeah.
Last game, Fred VanVleet didn't play. He played in this game, so it was him and Kyle Lowry in
No, he played.
In who?
In Brooklyn, yeah. Fred VanVleet, he was playing in Brooklyn.
No, I'm talking
He
about
had 17.
against. I'm talking about against the Knicks in the first.
Oh, the
game.
last.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, my bad.
Fred VanVleet didn't play against us the last time.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have much to say about this game.
This game
The
was
most
a
important games-
certified ass whooping. That's what it was. We was
I mean-
we stringing them along throughout the first 3 quarters. Like, all right, we see y'all getting your threes up. Y'all playing some good defense. It's cool. But Julius Randle was bullying everyone on that Raptors team.
Yeah.
All you see is bodies dropping on the Raptors, and Julius Randle just walking back on defense. Like, bro, they couldn't. They was too little. And then I had no fear about this game because of the fact that
I'd have anything.
at any point Julius Randle could just go and get a bucket. He finished the game 10 for 17 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, 31 points and 10 rebounds. RJ Barrett finishes the game 8 for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, 12 rebounds, 25 points. D Rose comes in and drops 19 off the bench. Like, this team is just looking really oiled up and ready for this playoff run.
Pause.
And I don't see who's no pause. You see who's gonna take this team out in the rest of this April in the rest of this April schedule. I don't see the team.
I don't want to see any team oiled up. First of all, second of all,
We got the Suns and the Bulls next.
well before we get into the rest of the schedule,
But I'm just talking
because
about the
this
streak.
the Suns
Let
are
me-
a good team.
The Suns
All right,
are a
before
good
we
team.
get there, because we're gonna
Alright,
get
my
there.
bad.
We're gonna talk about it. The Raptors did play okay in this game. The Raptors showed like, yeah, that you can't just play around with us. Like, you have to take us seriously. They did some things where it's like, oh, they can take advantage with Fred VanVleet's a shooter. Kyle Lowry's good. Siakam is playing well too. You have to take them seriously, and the game was going back and forth for a little while. Still, even with that, the Knicks at halftime were up 64-59. Immanuel Quickley, one of the notes that I had here, Immanuel Quickley at the end of the shot clock is getting so much, is getting so good. There was one play where time was running out. He manipulated the defense to get Randle an open 3-point shot, or not even, it wasn't even super open, but he got him a little space to get it off with 2 seconds left or 1 second left. Randle got it off and knocked it down, and it was like, yo, that's what we need from our point guard. That's what we need from somebody who's setting up the offense to just get the defense on its heels, so our best players can knock down open shots. And if he continues this trajectory as our rookie, he's our rookie. So if he continues this trajectory over the next few years and keeps improving, oh man, I don't even know what to say about what our future Knicks team looks like if we pick up some good pieces. Key stretch in this game, the Knicks unit to start the fourth with RJ Quickley, Rose, Obi Toppin, and Taj Gibson extended the lead to double digits. And this is where I'll talk about Obi Toppin real quick.
That's how it
He knocked down a couple of threes in this game where I was like, yo, if he's hitting that, this game's over. I said it in the first half. He hit one big three. I was like, hold on, Obi hit that? If he's knocking those down, this game's over, because they're not going to need Randle to come back out for a bit. They're not going to need
Obadiah Toppin. That's him.
His defense has improved.
That's him.
Dramatically over the last week or so. And the only thing that he's been killing on the fast break. Or I shouldn't say killing, but on the fast break he's been taking advantage. That's the one thing that's been consistent throughout this entire season is that if the Knicks can find him on the fast break, he's gonna get it to the rim and he's gonna dunk it, and it's gonna be an easy 2 points, or he's gonna make a good pass if the defense is set to somebody who's open, and it's gonna be a good shot for us. The only thing that we needed him to do was to hit the open three, and this game he was able to hit the open three. Kept Randall on the bench for an extra breather. And that's all you need. You need Randall to get that rest so that when he comes out, there's nothing that you can do. If we're up, if we extend the lead and Randall's on the bench, it's over. The game's over. There's not much to talk about. It doesn't matter who you are.
Can I just point something out real quick?
Go ahead.
He had a good game today, USA, right?
Obi? Yeah.
Yeah. How many minutes did he play? 9 minutes. That's all I wanted to say. It doesn't matter whether or not he's playing good or he's stinking it up. He's not going to get past a certain limit because of the fact that Julius Randle is an all-star.
And he didn't even get a full 9, Obi Toppin.
Pause.
But he didn't even get to play a full nine minutes. He got 8 in however many seconds. He had 9 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3. He was a +10 on the plus minus, which says something.
Yes,
in fact, there's only one player for this entire game who trended negatively in the plus minus, and I'm not going to say his name anymore.
It rhymes with Alfred Payton.
Anyway, so the only other Knicks news, Knicks are doing some signings and whatever, and some waivings. They're trying to get some of their better G League players. They're trying to get them paid. So if you're on Twitter and you happen to see, oh, the Knicks signed Miles Powell, oh, they waived Miles Powell, oh, they signed, I don't even remember the last guy that I saw on the Twitter, but they signed somebody, and I looked at some of his highlights, but then I realized, oh wait, they're doing all of this because they want to get some of these guys some extra
Talking
bread.
about Simi Shitu?
Yes, Simi Shitu. I expect him to get. Yeah, he's a G League guy. I expect him to get waived also, but they signed him to this contract to get him some bucks. I don't expect him to play. He seems to be a very good player, but he seems also to be limited to being in the paint. And
we still have 16 million cap space, right? And because we didn't trade for nobody and we didn't use the cap space up after a certain limit, we're gonna divvy it up with amongst the roster that we have.
Yes, yeah, because we're most likely not signing anybody because we have less than 10 games left.
Yep.
So yeah,
they're
trying to get some of these G League, get some of these G League guys paid. Norvell Pell got himself a multi-year contract. They're paying him out for the rest of the season, and I think he has though. Partially guaranteed for next year as well.
Yeah, and for the third year too.
I didn't look at the contract because
it was the first year. The first year this year is fully guaranteed. Next year it's partial guarantee. The third year is no guarantee. So if he is able to be, it was basically the Austin Rivers contract. Remember how that was? How that one went? It was like 3 years, $5 million. First year guaranteed, second year none, third year none.
Okay.
So it's not really a 3-year deal if he's playing bad.
It's partially guaranteed. Those non-guaranteed, he still get a little bit of bread though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice little come up for him. All right,
yeah,
now that
insurance.
Now let's get into the upcoming games. Monday, the Knicks will play the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix,
AKA the Toronto Raptors of the West.
So the Phoenix Suns are 42-17, 71 win percentage. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They are 23-9 at home, 19-8 away. Hope that we can win this game, but that's all I'm gonna say. I hope we can.
Phoenix Suns are number 2 in the West. What's their record? I know you got it up.
The Phoenix Suns? I just said it. 42-17.
42-17, second in the West.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best teams in the NBA, and yet no one is afraid of them. You get what I'm saying? Like every year, there's always the teams that the Toronto Raptors when they had DeRozan and they was winning 50-something, 60 games every year, and then in the playoffs they get spanked. There's nothing about this Phoenix Suns team that scares me. DeAndre Ayton doesn't put no fear in my heart.
He's playing well this year.
He's playing well, but he's always been putting up good numbers, even back to his rookie year. He always was putting up good numbers, but there was nothing about his game that made you be like, damn, I'm not looking forward to playing against him. I feel like these guys are going to come into the Garden and have a rough night. Like, they're used to playing against other teams in the West that want to score heavy, and they don't feel you defensively for the most part, the Phoenix Suns, so they getting to do whatever they want. They got Chris Paul, Hall of Fame point guard, Devin Booker, one of the top young players in the NBA. Mikal Bridges, one of the top players coming out of that draft with Kevin Knox. Mm-hmm. Who else? DeAndre Ayton, the number 1 pick overall. Like, they have a lot of talent on their team with a Hall of Fame point guard and a good coach. So
once a nickel, the record, Langston Galloway.
He on the Phoenix Suns?
He is.
he ain't gonna make a difference. Anyway, there's always that one team that does well and has a great record, but just doesn't put any fear in your heart, and that's the Phoenix Suns this year. I feel like
the Phoenix Suns' future is going to be dependent on the health of the Lakers and the play of the Clippers. And that's all I'll say about that. They're
the young pups.
Yeah, so Phoenix Suns, I hope we can win that game. If we can win that game, that's gonna change. Like, we're getting a lot of publicity and all that stuff now, but if we can pull one off over the Phoenix Suns, regardless of, unless Chris Paul doesn't play, he is. And I keep thinking about what if we could have made a trade for him instead of bringing back Elfrid Payton. Imagine.
I feel like Elfrid Payton could give Chris Paul some trouble.
On 4/28 Wednesday, Bulls at the New York Knicks. We should win that game. If we can't win that game, if we don't win that game, I will be highly upset. And the New York Knicks.
Just listen to this. You said the Bulls, right? So the next 2 games, the Suns, the Bulls. Mm-hmm. And then we have 9 games left in the season. Houston Rockets, 15-45 record. Memphis Grizzlies, 30-28. Nuggets, that's a competitive game that we probably have to go to the end to win. Then we play Phoenix again, Clippers, Lakers, Spurs, Hornets, Celtics. I feel like we can win every game up until that Nugget game. So that will put us up 10-game, 11-game, 12, 13-game winning streak. And then even if we lost to the Nuggets, the Clippers, and possibly the Celtics, it's looking like we got the 4th seed locked up. If we win those games that I just said.
I feel like you're sounding a little bit homerish. But
hey, you see, like, you can't ignore what's going on, though. You can't ignore what's going on. We on a 9-game win streak right now. 9. And we beat a lot of the teams that, and during this win streak, we beat teams that are a lot similar to the teams that we're going to be facing up in the next 9-10 games. Except for Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix, the beating Phoenix would help me agree with you a lot more. Because if they beat Phoenix, they shouldn't lose to Houston. They shouldn't lose to Memphis. And Denver has Jokic, which that will be a really tough game.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
So
Jokic, don't Jokic look like he be playing in flip-flops? Watch Jokic, watch his highlights. And every time he do a spinning post move,
he got
fade away jump shot. It look like he got chancletas on. He look like he just got his toes done.
Oh man! So you're saying the Knicks are gonna? We're gonna only cover 3 games by the next podcast. Are you saying that the Knicks are gonna win in all 3?
I'm calling it.
I'm calling.
That means we coming back with a 12-game win streak. See how long it took? You see how long it took me to do that math? I don't know
Yeah, you
how I
tired.
graduated. I mean, yo, how did I graduate?
Don't you have like an associate's too?
I got my associates.
Yeah. If the Knicks, if we come back to this next podcast and the Knicks got a double-digit win streak,
Come on now.
regardless, that means they win their next game against the Phoenix Suns. So that means they got to 10.
Seed.
If they got to 10, yeah, fourth seed, bank it. It would take something tragic for us to not have that. Yeah, man. So that's gonna be about it. We're gonna sign off right here. Thank you for listening to the Knicks Take podcast. French, you got any plugs, anything, any shows or anything you want to plug for the people?
Prayers up to our father Ayaka in the hospital right now. It's been a long week, and that's why we haven't gone past our 2-hour record mark to go to 2.5 hours. We cutting it short early today because we going through a lot right now. So prayers up to Ayaka.
Yeah, love you, Dad. Hopefully you're able to listen to this from the confines of your home instead of the hospital.
I left him some headphones. He can listen up.
We love you, and hopefully they release you soon. It's like you in prison over there. All right, thank y'all for listening, everybody. Take it easy.
Dog, grow a boo, I can't lose. No, I can't lose. Mobbing with the crew, nothing new. Thought you knew, thought I was falling off. Blessings keep on falling through, and I got them pissed off. What I did, what I do. Young nigga running loose, raise the pressure up. I just leveled up, level 2, and I just woke up. Dog, I fell asleep inside the coupe. Gotta freshen up, catch me slipping, I can't let them. Streets mess me up, got me jacking R.I.P. the suit. Had to step it up, bitch, I'm used to smoking on the stoop. Tryna sex me up, baby, I'm a vibe, I'm a move. Got me backman bound with a baddie, she just want the hoops in the links. J-Raccoon on the mink, ice my juice, that's it. Free your juice, out the clean. Gotta lay low, cause the looks too distinct. Roll a skunk blunt in the